truly make me disgusted. And if I ever encounter you in real life, I hope that I just don't lose my
they're doing. But if Mike takes it serious like he took with me, then he gonna take. I don't see Jake beating him because he's very hard to hit still when he's in shape, and he's still a very hard puncher when he's in shape.
Jake Paul just got brutally attacked by boxing pros after he announced he's canceling the fight he was practically obsessed with. I know, you've probably been following this fight saga since April, and maybe you even snagged tickets or got that Netflix subscription just for this epic showdown. But alas, Jake has thrown a wrench in our plans and ruined everything. From the first day, every boxing expert with half a brain warned Jake not to bite off more than he could chew. But was he listening? Of course not. Now, with reality hitting a bit harder and Mike postponing the fight due to health concerns, Jake decided to call it quits the very next moment. But oh, Jake, who's going to save you now from the verbal jabs flying in from the biggest names in boxing? But before I spill the beans on the most intense or epic roast of Jake Paul, let's rewind and talk about how Jake got his golden opportunity to cancel the fight. So till now, you might have got the news that Mike Tyson, the legend himself, had an ulcer flare-up mid-flight. Just 30 minutes before landing, Tyson was on his way to a crucial training session when bam, severe abdominal pain hit. It was so bad that they had to make an emergency landing so Tyson could get immediate medical attention. The whole boxing world went nuts, seriously worried about Tyson's ability to keep training for his fight against Jake Paul. Speculations flew faster than a Tyson punch. Could the 58-year-old icon, despite his beastly training and epic comeback, really handle the grind needed for a high-stakes match? The guy known for his ferocious strength and unbreakable spirit suddenly looked human. Everyone was buzzing about his long-term health, wondering if his body could keep up with the brutal demands of professional boxing at his age. But Tyson being Tyson gave everyone a shocker while saying,
"Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul."
Yeah, this clip is right after Tyson's rough health scare. But you might be wondering, if Tyson's healthy enough to throw down a brutal warning to Jake, why the postponement? Well, it's because his doctors practically had to tie him down and force him to not risk his life. Otherwise, trust me, Tyson would be in the ring right now, ignoring all the health and pain warnings, ready to rumble. And the boxing community? Oh, they had plenty to say. Roy Jones Jr., who fought Tyson in an exhibition match not too long ago, showed concern, but stood by Tyson's choice to put his health first. He knows the sport's brutal and you gotta be at your best. But younger fighters like Ryan Garcia, they were pretty ticked off, calling the postponement a huge letdown for the sport and its fans. Jake Paul and his crew played it cool in public. Jake, usually the king of trash talk, took a surprisingly calm approach. He said he was bummed about the delay but wished Tyson well. Paul's camp kept stressing they were ready to reschedule and face Tyson whenever he's good to go. A little too nice, right? Especially from Jake, who's known for stirring the pot.
Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event, the whole undercard. Opportunity has been ripped from all of us, but I do value Mike's health first and foremost. Love that guy, I have so much respect for him, and I want Mike to be healthy.
But behind the scenes, the story was different. Sources close to Jake's camp were buzzing with frustration. The meticulous training schedules, the resources invested, it was all thrown off by Tyson's health scare. The uncertainty of a new timeline was a logistical nightmare for them. Then came the whispers about Tyson's training. Word on the street was Tyson had been pushing himself to the edge, with training sessions that included everything from old-school boxing drills to wild stuff like hormone rebalance therapies and electric shock simulations. Critics jumped on this, saying these extreme measures might have been too much for his aging body. Now the boxing world is on pins and needles, waiting for more updates on Tyson's condition and the new fight date. This whole incident has sparked a broader chat about the physical toll on older athletes and the risks they take. Tyson's legacy as a boxing legend is untouchable, but this health scare is a stark reminder of how tough pro sports can be on the body, no matter how legendary you are. And just 3 days after the much-anticipated fight was postponed due to Tyson's health issues, Jake Paul dropped a headline that he's canceling the fight altogether. Yep, you heard that right. Initially, Jake tried to save face by pivoting quickly. He reached out to KSI, his longtime rival and fellow YouTube star-turned-boxer, to step in for Tyson. But KSI, probably rolling his eyes, declined the offer. Apparently, KSI is busy prepping for his own boxing matches and wasn't interested in a last-minute brawl with Paul, especially with all the chaos surrounding it. With KSI out, Jake turned to another potential opponent, Mike Perry. Perry, a former UFC fighter known for his wild and aggressive style, agreed to the fight.
Yeah, the news is true, folks. I, Jake Paul, will be fighting Mike Perry, Tampa, Florida, July.
But let's be real, this announcement didn't do much to calm the critics. Many saw it as yet another attempt by Jake to stay in the limelight rather than face a true boxing legend like Tyson. Critics have a field day with Jake Paul's antics, arguing that his constant hunt for high-profile fights is more about keeping his celebrity status than proving himself as a serious boxer. This perception has led to some harsh words from all corners of the boxing community. Prominent figures in the sport have accused Paul of treating boxing as a stage for entertainment, rather than respecting it as a legitimate athletic endeavor. And guess who was the first to chime in after this whole mess with the fight cancellation? None other than Roy Jones Jr., the boxing legend himself. This guy's got an illustrious career and knows a thing or two about facing off against Mike Tyson. Remember that exhibition match on November 28, 2020? Yeah, the one where Jones Jr. got a front row seat to Tyson's raw power and relentless aggression. Even though it ended in a split draw, it was clear to anyone with eyes that Tyson still had that legendary speed, power, and technique. Jones Jr. has been pretty vocal about his predictions for the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, and he's not sugarcoating anything. He said, "If Mike takes it serious like he took me, then I don't see Jake breathing because he's very hard to hit still when in shape, and he's still a very hard puncher."
They're doing. But if Mike takes it serious like he took with me, then he gonna take. I don't see Jake beating him because he's very hard to hit still when he's in shape, and he's still.
Jones Jr. knows firsthand how tough Tyson's defense is and just how powerful his punches are. Trying to land a solid hit on Tyson is like trying to catch a greased lightning bolt. Reflecting on his own fight with Tyson, Jones Jr. said, "I survived it. I'm happy to scratch it off the bucket list and move on with my life." Can you imagine? For a guy who's faced some of the most formidable opponents in boxing, going toe-to-toe with Tyson was a significant ordeal. Jones Jr. is basically saying, "Been there, done that, and I'm glad it's over." From Jones Jr.'s perspective, Jake Paul is diving headfirst into a shark tank. Sure, Paul has shown some promise in his boxing career, but let's be real. His past opponents are nothing compared to Tyson. White's take on Tyson's body shots is both bold and downright scary. He said, "Mike hits him in the body don't move that much. I don't see how Jake survives a body attack personally." To get why White's comments are so alarming, you've got to understand Tyson's history in the ring. Tyson's body attack is legendary. Back in the day, Tyson used his powerful legs and quick footwork to get in close and deliver bone-crushing blows to his opponent's midsection. Remember his 1986 fight against Trevor Berbick? Tyson's relentless body shots helped take Berbick down in the second round. With a knockout rate of 75%, Tyson's tactics often left his opponents unable to continue. White also pointed out the stark difference in experience and skill between Jake Paul and Tyson. Look at Paul's past opponents. They're mostly smaller, less experienced fighters. Take his fight with Ben Askren, for example. Askren, a former MMA fighter at 5'10" and 170 pounds, wasn't equipped to handle Paul's power, resulting in a first-round knockout. Then there's the fight with former NBA player Nate Robinson, who's 5'9" and about 180 pounds. That one ended quickly, too, because Robinson had zero boxing experience. As Dana White said,
"Weird, it was fucking nuts is what it was. It's insane. That guy should never ref a big fight again. They should kick him back down to the minor leagues."
Now compare that to Tyson. Even in his older years, Tyson is a heavyweight beast with a terrifying record. At his peak, Tyson was 5'10", weighing around 220 pounds of pure muscle, with a 71-inch reach. Combine that with his unparalleled experience and technique, and you've got a fighter who's a nightmare for any opponent. Jake Paul, at 6'1" and about 190 pounds, might be taller, but the real difference is in their boxing pedigrees. And when it comes to Tyson, you just can't forget to mention Joe Rogan. The iconic podcast host and MMA commentator is never shy about sharing his opinions, and the recent cancellation of the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight was no exception. Rogan, known for his blunt and often brutal honesty, weighed in on the situation with his characteristic no-nonsense style. On a recent episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, he said,
"Humble is, like, there's not a fucking chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson that beat Marvis Frazier."
This statement reflects a widespread sentiment in the boxing community. Jake Paul, despite all his hype, just isn't on Tyson's level. Rogan's no-filter opinion cuts straight to the reality of what it would mean to step into the ring with a legend like Tyson. Delving into Tyson's training regimen, Rogan didn't hold back on the details. He highlighted the sheer intensity and dedication that Tyson, even in his late 50s, brings to his workouts. And don't even get me started on how Tyson Fury has roasted Jake Paul. The larger-than-life heavyweight champion gave his unique take on the whole Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson saga, mixing his trademark humor with sharp insights. Fury's take on Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson is a blend of comedy and brutal honesty. He said, "For the actual sentence, I'm going to fight Mike Tyson right because you disarm yourself when you say that. If you said it to yourself in a mirror and you were like, yo, I'm about to fight Mike Tyson, you instantly become a takwao, skinny, starving kid just mentality-wise, right? And then you train and you get ready. But who are you getting ready to fight again, Mike? Every time you say the name, you just become." From Fury's point of view, the psychological impact of facing Mike Tyson is enormous. He often talks about the mental games in boxing, and Tyson is like a mythological beast in that world. And if I tell you the biggest hater of Jake Paul is Sean Strickland, I'm not even exaggerating. This fiery UFC fighter, known for his no-holds-barred attitude, has been loud and clear about his disdain for the postponed Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Strickland's blunt and unfiltered commentary is like a breath of fresh air, pulling no punches in his critique of Jake Paul. When news of the fight's postponement hit, Strickland wasted no time in voicing his thoughts. Strickland's view of Jake Paul goes beyond this one fight. He sees Paul as the poster boy for a new generation that's all about fame and spectacle over the authenticity and grit that combat sports are built on. Strickland, a dedicated and seasoned fighter, values the blood, sweat, and tears that go into becoming a true warrior. His disdain for Paul's approach reflects a broader tension in the combat sports community about the rise of celebrity boxing. If you follow boxing, you're practically an expert yourself. So drop some of your insights about Jake Paul in the comments below. Let's see how many of you are on Mike's side, which is obviously the right one.